Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday Night Luke Live Online on Wednesday night. Never mind, you know. So, I'm Father James DeLucio, and I'm back in the Library of the Paulist Fathers Rectory in New York, and tonight's pericope is Luke chapter 14, verses 25 to 35. And so here we go. While many were traveling with Jesus, he turned and addressed them. If anyone comes to me without hating his father and mother, children, brothers and sisters, he or she cannot be my disciple. Whoever does not pick up his or her cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. Who among you, after wishing to build a tower, would not first sit down and calculate the cost to see if there is enough for its completion? If not, after laying the foundation, onlookers will laugh at you and say, "This one began to build, but does not have the resources to finish." Or what king marching into battle would not sit down first to decide whether with 10,000 troops he can oppose a king advancing upon him with 20,000 troops? If not, while he is still far away, he will send a delegation to ask for peace terms. Whoever does not renounce all his or her possessions cannot be my disciple. Salt is good, but if salt loses its taste, how can its flavor be restored? It is fit neither for the soil nor the maroon pile, not the maroon pile, the soil nor the manure pile. It is thrown out. Whoever has ears to hear ought to hear the gospel of the Lord. Good news for the evening. All right, so what do you make of this? Okay, we know from other passages Jesus doesn't want us to hate people, certainly doesn't expect us to hate our relatives. But what is he talking about is that he knows that left on our own, and so much of this whole passage is about, do we want to live our life on our own or with the Spirit of Jesus, with the Spirit of the living God, devout and grounded in our love of God, which will bring a proper way to love ourselves and to love our neighbors as ourselves. But if we're left on our own, we're going to love family, friends, others with either possessiveness or jealousy or manipulation, wanting to fit family members to our image rather than who they are. But if we really are centered in God, we see them as best as humanly possible as God sees them, people with strengths and weaknesses, talents that are similar or very different from our own. We're able to affirm and trust, encourage, and yes, speak up when we think they're doing wrong, but always with a sense of love and open to forgiveness and hope, so that there's always new possibilities. The same thing with picking up the cross. It's recognizing life's realities and following Jesus, entering into the difficulties of life. Because if we're not taking our faith to enter into the difficulties of life, we're really hiding away. We're not fulfilling the purpose for which Jesus came, which was to engage us, to keep forming community, to affirm and uphold others, to love those who are different from us, to invite us to communion, finding common ground. So then he uses the analogies of wishing to build a tower. In other words, do we really know all that is expected of us? Are we ready to commit to following Jesus? Do we recognize that we don't have everything that we need to finish, that we need God's help? Again, my life isn't just about me. Do I see myself as an instrument of God? We have to remind ourselves of that daily because we forget. We forget. I forget. We all do. So he wants us to keep coming back to be centered in him. Same thing with the king, asking for peace terms. Again, Lord, I do ask for peace. So that means accepting your love forgiveness. Help me to love, forgive myself, love, forgive others. Remember, many times I talk about that. Love, forgiveness needs to be one word because you can't have one without the other ever in this life. And evidently neither can God, because God has willed God to be love, forgiveness. Otherwise, none of us would be here. So think about that profound thought. As for the salt, we lose our energy, we lose our fervor than when we had it certain times in our lives. Jesus says, look, again, unless you're centered on me, then you just miss out. And then he uses the fun language of you're thrown out, but it's not what he does to us, it's really what we do to ourselves. So may we stay centered. May we learn. Yesterday in the scriptures, he talked about praying for laborers to the harvest. That means everybody. We need to cultivate more conflict resolution, working with family and friends and acquaintances and coworkers. There's so much conflict today. There's all the anger and the responses to the Supreme Court decisions of late. We have to be able to say, let's listen. We'll listen, accept that there's emotions involved, empathize with the emotion, and then patiently hear, trying to objectify the issues without the emotion. After we've honored that we express empathy with the emotions, we have them too. Hurt, anger, joy, celebrations, so many things. And what we can do together to take one step at a time. And here we are. So there you are. And thank you so much for joining me on Wednesday night. Let's see. Friday, yes, I will have a Young at Heart. And then I think I'm going to take a long break for the summer. So tune in, send a comment or two. Lots of love to you. Have a great evening. God bless. Did I finish? No. Good night.